Good morning, everyone. It's Mike Ward from the Village Runner and Darren from Village Runner.
Look who's back, guys.
I'm back. As many of you know, it's November. November is actually running safety month.
Right.
So Darren had some great tips last month for you. And today we're going to, or last week for you.
Last week we talked a bit about lights and stuff. We're going to revisit some of the things I talked about.
So today we're going to basically talk about running in traffic. Now, I only run in traffic like about a block and a half to get down to the beach from my home, but there are a lot of perilous deals in getting down to the beach. So anyway, we're going to explain a few of those today. So a couple of things like running in traffic. Basically, Darren already mentioned this before, to run against the traffic flow, correct?
It's important to be able to see the cars coming so they're not sneaking up behind you. We'll look at a couple of situations on the map coming up about how to avoid the blind spots and catch their eye as well.
So number 2 here is assume that nobody can see you. So it's a great rule of thumb. People are distracted, they're lost, they're on their phones. You know, I just always assume nobody sees me because, like, you know, probably 50% of the time they're not paying attention.
They're not looking for runners, that's for sure. So absolutely, you have to keep your head on a swivel.
So number 3, I was going to put avoid blind spots, but I think that's impossible.
Right.
So I think be aware of blind spots. So especially, you know, if you're in a new area or on a new run, whatever, you know, you're better off, quite honestly, if you can avoid them completely. But that's virtually impossible.
Right.
So anyway, what I did is I did a little map of speaking of avoiding blind spots, of just basically my 1 block run to the beach, block and a half. And anyway, so avoid the blind spots. So I just kind of did them in number of order. Like number 1, it's Wells Fargo Bank is right here, right? So people, this is one that drives me nuts. When you're running down the sidewalk, which you should always try to run on the sidewalk if at all possible.
When you can, sure.
So anyways, people making right turns. You would assume they would look left. Well, they do look left, but they should be looking right at the sidewalk, but people do not.
No.
I've almost been nailed probably more times in my life than, you know, with people just who are not paying attention making a right turn out of a parking lot.
Right.
Okay, secondly, when you're running down, so you got another blind spot here, people making a left turn. So you always just kind of, when you're running, you know, first of all, make sure the car's not flying out of the parking lot making a right. Secondly, you know, kind of take a look over your right shoulder, make sure they're not making a left-hand turn.
With all this stuff going on, keep in mind also, maybe the sidewalk on your way to the beach is not the time to PR. You want to be under control and be paying attention. Don't be booking down this thing because you need to have time to react also. When you get cut off by this guy, when this guy turns left, you should still be able to
slow it down. That's
slow
a
it
good
down,
point.
be under control so that you can.
So that brings us to
adjust.
another couple of points. So here's the dry cleaners, right? So another perilous situation is cars actually back out of here. So same thing. I've had cars where I've just had to stop, you know, proceed with caution and stop because they back out. They have no clue you're coming through, right? And then right here is an interesting thing too. Like this sidewalk is sometimes really crowded. So what I'll do is actually go onto the street and I'll run. Now there's parking. And I mean, this is just where, to Darren's point, you know, probably not recommended in the first place. You're almost better off slowing down and walking. But I will run out on the street. But you have to proceed with extreme caution.
They're not looking for you.
Yeah. So anyway, now we get down to the corner here, and this is a whole big old crazy corner, right? There's as you can see, there are 4 or 5 potential places where there's trouble. You know, first of all, I just kind of put them in order. You know, watch for the guy making the right turn. You know, number 5 is the guy going straight. Eye contact with all these, right? Number 6, this one's actually really important because number 6 is like the guy making the left. Never really paying attention to, you know, they're watching for this guy here, this guy over here, that guy there. The last thing they're thinking about is the runner in the crosswalk. So you got to be careful. You know, number 7, obviously, just be aware of all the cars at the corner.
Mike made a great point earlier today when we were talking about this. There's plenty of people who had the right of way that are in the hospital or dead. Just because you have the right of way doesn't mean you're not going to get hit by that car. So that's not armor. You still have to watch out because that's not going to get the job done. You need to be careful and keep your head on that swivel. Easiest thing, get that eye contact, assume they can't see you, and proceed with caution. And get your butt down to the beach where it's nice and you can just
Yeah, exactly. And then when you get down there, just watch out for everyone on their electric bikes.
Exactly, and those scooters.
Anyhow, all right. Well, so that's about it for this week. We'll hopefully have some safety tips and stay out of the hospital, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.